Welcome back to Stubbsy Bricks for another episode of Building Mandalore in Lego. Last week I worked on this room here, which was the scene of the death of Captain Vaughn. I'd like to get started on the tunnels here. However, before I can do so, I need to work on this section just down there. Now, I'm still waiting for the trans orange parts to come in from lego.com. However, I have actually found some in my collection, so I think I've got enough to do what I want to do in that section down there. So I'm going to start off this week by moving this section up to the work table, do as much as I can possibly get done in this section down here, and hopefully it'll be enough so I can then put the roof section on there and then make a start on the tunnels above. One problem I have had this week, the macaroni pieces in dark bluish grey that I wanted to get for these sections here and on the tunnel just there, lego.com are out of stock, unfortunately. So that's a real problem in the sense I'm not going to be able to get those parts all finished off. These arches, they're on their way from somebody off of Bricklink, and I did look on Bricklink for the macaronis, but nobody's got the quantity that I need to get that section done. But luckily, it is part that I think I can just add afterwards, so it shouldn't hold up the mock too much. So without further ado, let's move this section up to the table and make a start on the section down the bottom there. And I hung a few chains from the rockwork which you see in the Mandalorian episode, and also got Mando there in the cage. I know, as I mentioned previously, that this is a Siege of Mandalore mock, but these are more like Easter egg scenes. So these are places that would be below Mandalore in the Siege of Mandalore had they explored down into this section. I possibly can change these chains out for dark pearl silver ones in the future, but I've just put these up for the time being. But I will be adding a lot more details further down the lines. But the lights are now all connected, all wired up. So all I need to do now is plug them in, check they're all working, and providing they do, then I'll be able to build the roof section over here and make a start on the tunnels above. And that's the roof section all sorted out, ready for the tunnel to go on top of it. So this has got plenty of strength in there, and I'll build the tunnel in, and I'm going to put a support beam across from this arch here to the one that's going to be the other end, and that's going to help take the weight of the beams, which will go on the top of that, which will then hold the city above. Obviously, all of the top section of this, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it until the arches arrive in the correct colour. Because as you can see at the moment, I'm using the nougat and the light bluish grey. In regards to the macaronis that go inside the tunnel, those parts I can add afterwards, so they're not holding things up. It's just those arches that are. But I have been informed by the Bricklink seller that they have been dispatched, so fingers crossed they'll arrive early this week, and then I'll be able to get a big chunk of this done. And after several hours of prototyping, this is the best I can come up with so far for the tunnel design. And it's using a lot of the ball joint pieces. I've got these off the pick a brick wall, some 2x wide plates, which are connecting them all together. And I have got two of those next to each other, and then a tile on the front. The 1x tiles in the middle, they're just kept in place by squeezing these all together. So there's an illegal building technique on there, and it's as seamless as I can get it, so I can't see any gaps going through, so I'm quite happy on that side. However, I do think that the macaroni piece does look a little bit better. It's a smoother curve, which is what the tunnel is, and also by having the 2x bricks in there, I can also put the lights going down as well, which again makes it a little bit more screen accurate. So I do want to have a good think about what design I go for. I have tried numerous different things. I've tried an extra 2x plate as opposed to using the 1x's in between, but again it just didn't look right, didn't line up properly. I even tried using some of these like hinge pieces here, but again I couldn't get anything to work just right. So I'm going to have a good think about it before I make any commitment to doing that section. So I'm going to turn my attentions now to the roof section on the living waters. Rather than build several of these parts up and then be not happy with it, I'd sooner have a good think about it. So let's go over to the mock, get the living water section, put the roof on there and start building the supports up on the back of it. And that's the roof section all on top of the living water section. Now originally I was going to have a tunnel here, and then there was going to be the oval shape here which led to the surface where you have the lift at the back, and then another tunnel here. However, I'm thinking it's going to be better if I have the chute all in this one area here. It's going to enable me to do it as one section, which is going to make it stronger, and I think it's going to look a lot better as well. It's all going to join up nicely, and then I just have a tunnel along this one along here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get some hinge pieces out, just map out how I'm going to have it. I'm probably not going to have a tunnel on that side. I might just put like a doorway or the entrance to a tunnel, but it's got a closed door on it or something like that. But I'll have a little bit of an experiment and play with that. But I want to make sure that this section here is large enough. So let's get the hinges out, let's get some grey bricks out, and let's map it out and see what's going to look like. And here is the start to the semicircle chute that's going to be coming down from the surface. So it is a whole circle at the top, but I'm only going to be showing half of it down below here. And this is nowhere near big enough for what I want to be showing off on here. Now at the moment I've got a wall there that's 8 studs wide, and I'm probably going to shrink that to 4. I think that'll be wide enough to take the weight of the city above, and the same on this side. By doing that I'm going to be able to extend that by 8 studs. I can remove another pillar here or another row of plates there, and then that'll enable me to go back by another 8 studs, and I think that's going to look a lot better. So I'm going to make those amendments, and then once I've done so I'll start working on the water section, which is going to go on the bottom there. And that's the support structures all amended around all 3 sides. I've used a lot of the slopes here just to save on some of the 2x2 bricks. And I've maximised the space that I can here. As I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that the side supports are strong enough to take the weight of whatever goes above. Next up, we're going to be putting this wall section in just at the back here. So I've maximised the amount of space I've got in there to build that on. And then after that, there's going to be the water section in the middle. So I've made out this little plate here using plates and wedge plates in the dark green and the black. And then I will be tiling that off with these dark trans tiles there just to give it a water-like effect. So what I need to do is just fix this down in place, build the floor up, plate it all off, and then once I've done that I can then start building the wall up. Now with this wall here, it's not going to have that many connection points because of the angle of the curve, so I will have to tile underneath the wall before I can start building it up. So let's do those parts first of all. Once we've done so, I'll check back in and show you how it's looking. And that's the water section in the centre, all put in place. A couple of bricks put around the edge. The trans tiles put on the top to give it the finishing effect, and quite happy with how that has come out. Put the support beams all the way across the floor here now to raise it all up and just plating it all off. Once I've done that side of things, I'll tile it all off and then I can make a start on the wall at the back there. And just checking one final time for this update, and as you can see, you've got a lot of the tiling done. Started building the curved wall up and started the elevator shaft that goes down on that section just there. However, I've got a lot of decisions to make on how we proceed forward here. It's not lining up perfectly for the visual that I have of the finished mock. Now this circle here, I wanted to have it so it was a whole circle as you see on the mini mock just there. However, if I do that, there should be an entrance to a tunnel just here, and it should line up with that. But as you can see, that's too far forward for that to look right visually. So I need to decide whether or not I have 2 separate tunnels, which wouldn't be a problem. So what I would do is I'll do the tunnel coming along here, and then I'll probably have a solid bit of wall, and just do a tunnel entrance there. So it's almost like a maze. As you do see in the Siege of Mandalore, because in the episode you do see them running through all these different tunnels. So that's one thing, and at least then I can keep that visual that I like on the top. The other alternative is I bring this whole section forward here, and then there'll be a cutout on the front of the MOC looking down to it. But I don't know whether that's going to look as impressive as having the whole circle on there. So just a couple of decisions I need to make in regards to that. I still haven't made my mind up in regards to how I'm going to be doing the tunnel section along here. I do think I prefer the idea of the macaronis, but it's a problem of how long will it take Lego.com to get them in stock. I mean, I've still got several months of building this MOC. There's plenty of time for them to get them in stock. Unfortunately, not many Lego sets, so it's not a case of getting them from there, especially in the quantities I'm going to be needing them. But so a lot of decisions to be made there. But yeah, really happy with how this is coming on. There's been a lot of amending on this MOC, especially the support structure. I must have done that about 3 or 4 times alone this week, just like amending it, putting it back, then changing it again. But all in all, really happy of how this is coming on. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in this or building the Gotham City, please share it with them. Anyway, thanks for popping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.